The universe began about 14 billion years ago, and in that Big Bang, the universe was created. In that universe, everything comes from the stars, and we are part of the stars. We are the recycled material of stars. This is a story about a little girl made from those stars, and so she dreamed of the stars. She was in a very loving family. This little girl was born before satellites were in space. We had rockets and anything like that, even before NASA. This is the time she grew up in. And even though she was still young, these things influenced her. It was the 1950s. So without all those other things like astronauts and rockets, we had science fiction. And that was the inspiration, because during that time, we started to have a lot of movies and TV shows. We were thinking about the future, and the future would be bright and positive, and everyone would have a wonderful place in the future. Technology would help us get there and improve the world. So this is what the little girl wanted to do. She watched TV. She saw these things flying around like crazy, and it just really started to sink in, even if it wasn't conscious. All these things were taking place. And so she wanted to dream about going into space and flying. Even though she was in a Bronx housing project, she could dream. And she would look out her window and see things and dream and be curious about all sorts of things. She wanted to be there. She wanted to be a part of it. And she was there in second grade when the first humans went into space. She heard on the radio Alan Shepard's launch, and that was exciting. And she remembers Telstar, when we can communicate around the world with satellites. And she dreamed of flying like Superman. And she also had her flying car. She can go different places, always traveling. And the world would be wonderful, and she wanted to fly around and do all sorts of crazy things. She wanted a life of adventure. And then she started growing up, and she found ways of getting her aerospace education. And she had a wonderful time and took her flying lessons. And then she went to college. She made up her own major. They didn't have space science, but she managed to create a major and get a job at Princeton University in the astrophysics department on a satellite project. And she didn't stop there. She got her wings. She got her private pilot's license in 1979. And she also went to Florida. She saw 2 shuttle launches, STS-1 and STS-7. Sally Ride's launch was 1983. And she kept going. And her dreams would get big. And she made it to NASA, the Johnson Space Center in Houston. She supported the space shuttle. She also supported the first amateur radio two-way TV from space. And she worked in this mission control with the International Space Station. That little girl would never have dreamed that this was all possible. And yet she did it because she believed in herself, and she never let her dreams outgrow.